The work created by animators and directors in the anime industry is influenced by various sources. These sources include other animes, films, TV shows, theater productions, books, both fiction and non-fiction, and journals. These influences are reflected and can be seen in their work. Looking at classical artists, such as the classical painters, they were actually inspired by nature and depicted these themes in their work. So these are some of the sources of inspiration for artists and other such creators. Going back to the anime industry, what you will find is that people borrow ideas from these various sources, and they then build on and improve on those ideas while using them in their work. This is not just restricted to the anime industry, but also occurs in other industries as well. The ideas are quite good. The post-apocalyptic setting is quite a common theme, explored in films such as Mad Max 1979, which I'm sure inspired the same idea in this film as well. But Miyazaki has gone beyond that with the idea of the toxic jungles and gigantic insects. He has explored environmental conservation themes in this film. This is the central premise of the film. There has been some type of war and/or nuclear holocaust, and following this the earth lays in ruin. This was quite a common theme in the 1970s and 1980s, with this theme being central to films such as Mad Max 1979 and other such films that followed it, as mentioned earlier. Following the nuclear holocaust, Earth's soil has been infected with toxins, and the plants are also affected by the toxins. Toxic jungles have sprung up around the world, and they continue to spread, swallowing up villages and habitable land. The toxic jungles are inhabited by giant insects. Nausicaa and her uncle Lord Yupa are trying to understand these, so as to help humanity. This is quite an apt theme, given that the Earth today faces similar environmental issues. Miyazaki got the idea for this from an actual environmental disaster that had occurred in Japan in the 1950s. Minamata Bay had been heavily polluted through mercury poisoning, which also bioaccumulated in the fish and shellfish of that area. After people ate the affected fish, it had given rise to the condition that had been called Minamata Disease, and 10,000 people had been affected by it. The shellfish may have given the idea for the Ohms in this film, the gigantic trilobite-like insects with many eyes. The story and screenplay are original. The story is well-paced and interesting, with many interesting events that occur throughout that keeps the viewer glued to the screen. There is never a dull moment, and the story has a steady and good pace. The viewer is never left with a feeling of boredom or of wanting to walk away from the screen. I gave 5 out of 5 for the story. The visuals are absolutely top-notch. If you freeze any frame of the animation, you'll end up with an image that is worth printing, framing, and putting up on the wall. Given the date of the film, the animation would have utilized traditional cel painting. They have been well done, with no visible visual artifacts or issues, other than dust, which has been kept to a minimum. This is a common issue with cel animation, as the painted backgrounds and cells need to be photographed or digitally scanned prior to being used. The character animation is well done, with no major issues observed. The background painted images are exquisite, evoking a sense of mystery and charm, making the viewer feel that they are looking at or have been carried away to an enchanted land. Backgrounds appear to have been painted using traditional media, rather than being digitally painted, which is consistent with the date of the film. The insect designs are unique, as well as the designs of the various craft in this film, which again evokes a sense of being transported to an enchanted and faraway land. Inner and outer environment elements also have a unique look to them. There is an interesting animation effect done in relation to the movement of the Ohms and the outer shell, the gigantic trilobite-like insects with many eyes. I did spot a minor issue with the animation. When the Tolmekian aircraft are attacked and 2 of them overlap, the one on the top is slightly transparent and shows the one below. I consider this a minor issue given the quality of the animation. The animation is one of the highlights of this film. and I gave the animation 5 out of 5. If I could give more than 5, I would, as that is how good it is. The sound effects are good, from the sounds of footsteps, environmental sounds such as the wind, fire from the stoves, and exhalation of poisonous gases from plants, etc. The creature sounds of the giant insects are unique, unusual, and well made. It makes you wonder how they made those sounds. The insect sounds in the scenes where Asbel is falling, Nausicaa rescues him, and at the end where Nausicaa is with the injured insect are especially unique and well done. The sounds that the various craft make are matching and unique to those craft, including the sounds when the craft are started and moved. They have gone to the trouble of having different craft sounds when they are shown from the inside as well as from the outside. Explosion sounds are good and loud. Gunshot sounds are also good, and there are several variations. The sound of flares being fired are also different to gunshot sounds. Gunshot, explosion, and aircraft engine sounds are difficult to replicate and reproduce. They have done a good job with all of these. All of this shows the level of effort they have taken with the sound design for this film. There are no artifacts or any other issues with the sound. I gave a score of 5 out of 5 for sound. The music has been beautifully composed by Joe Hisaishi. This was his first collaboration with Miyazaki, and he continued to be the musician for Ghibli films from this point onwards. This is a testament to the quality of the music that he composed for this film, as well as subsequent films. Music is excellent, especially the opening theme song. Key moments in the film are accompanied by matching and pertinent music, but music does not play non-stop throughout the film. There are no artifacts or any sound-related issues with the music recording. I gave a score of 5 out of 5 for music. If I could give music a score higher than 5, I would, as this, in addition to the animation, is a highlight of this film. The English voice acting is well done, using professional US actors such as Patrick Stewart playing the part of Lord Yupa, Uma Thurman playing Kushana, and Mark Hamill playing the mayor of Pijit. Everyone has acted and played their parts well. With the English voices, when people are wearing masks, the sound has been altered to be hollow, reflecting the fact that they are wearing masks. When the Tolmekian warriors are in King Jill's room at the start of the film, and when Nausicaa and Mito descend onto the lake in their gunship to rescue the others, are some example scenes. This shows attention to detail. However, the same has not been done with the Japanese voice track, which is nevertheless a minor issue. The primary goal of any fantasy film is to transport the viewer to another place and time, away from the mundaneness and drudgery of everyday life. With all the elements, including the story, visuals, sounds, and music helping, along with the excellent voice acting, the film achieves this objective quite well. This gives this film a final score of 5 out of 5, which is the first perfect score for a film review. This film is a classic animated masterpiece and should be on everyone's shortlist to watch. The review was done using the collected works of Hayao Miyazaki 2015 Blu-ray collection from Madman Entertainment. Miyazaki's previous animated film was The Castle of Cagliostro 1979, which was his first animated film. I have also done a review of that film. There is another post-apocalyptic Japanese animated film or anime that was done a few years after this in 1986, and also seems to have been influenced by this film or its manga, which means comic. And this film is The Fist of North Star 1986, and I will be doing a review of that soon. These anime films were mentioned: The Castle of Cagliostro 1979, Fist of the North Star 1986, and the collected works of Hayao Miyazaki 2015. These films were mentioned: Mad Max 1979,